We do things out of how much effort it will require of us. We don't do it based on having a thorough understanding of the fact that it needs to get done. And that's how we treat serving. That's how we treat serving others in the community, others within the church. It takes too much sometimes, so we don't do it. And I liken that to us. When we first get saved, oh man, are we on fire? Oh, we're stoked. We want to go win the world. We actually believe that we can win the world at that point before we get a little jaded and a little calloused. But at a certain point, it's kind of like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't do that anymore. You're gonna have to go find someone who does. You are never above leading someone to Jesus. I don't care where God has brought you to, whether it is pastoring, whether it's on the worship team, whether it is leading a life group, or whether you are in the marketplace at a job, you are never above leading someone to Jesus. I don't care if you've been saved for 15 minutes, 15 years, or decades after that. You are never above leading someone to Jesus. Because there are people who have questions. There are people who need to hear the good news. Distance and height and status and titles all belong to God. So whatever perceived idea you have of distance between you and someone else, maybe someone who just got saved or someone who asked a question like that, is strictly made up by you. It's so interesting because our idea of serving, which is not a bad thing, but our idea of serving is we get food for people. Because a lot of those things that we do, those practical things, they open up a door for conversation, for dialogue. But there are a lot of people headed to hell with full bellies who don't know that word. But because we have living water and we have hope, why are we not giving it to people? Why are we not? And I'll tell you why. We think that there isn't enough love from God to go around for everyone. Just because God brings in someone else into his fold doesn't mean that he's not gonna still love you and he's not gonna still have a special place in his heart for you. I would ask you to pray and think about those people that are in your life that God has probably already brought in and asked you to walk alongside. And how many times have each of us said, I can't, it takes too much. I'm gonna have to go back. Or even more, and this is what my wife pointed out this week. Yeah, I'll help them to an extent, but I'm gonna pray that God brings someone else in their life. Why would you do that when God's already brought you to them? Because God loves you and you are worth it. You are worth it. And don't let anyone else tell you that you're not. Because there may be people in your life, and I don't wanna be so naive to think that this isn't the case. There may have been people in your life who have said you're not. That you did ask for help. That it did take humility to go to them and say, hey, I need help, I need prayer. And they may have said, I'm sorry, I don't have the time. Or they redirected you to someone else. Don't let that be your picture, or your picture of God and his heart for you. Each and every one of you here is worth it. Is worth someone coming alongside to walk with you, to guide you through this process, through this journey. Because we can't do it on our own. What if it's simply in order for you to glorify God by walking alongside him? Are we willing to do it? So that's my question to you. That was the title of this sermon. Is it worth it? Is it worth whatever you're gonna have to give up to bring someone closer to Christ?